Hey everyone, it's Vernie here. Another Tuesday, another Vault video. This is week 15 of Season 3. We had another pretty busy week last week. I think we ended up doing 35-ish dungeons. As you can see, we got a lot done on characters like the Rogue, the Mage, the Demon Hunter. We've been having fun playing some of the alts, so been mostly focusing on those. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, and the Paladin did loot the Legendary last week, so we started that quest. We actually are almost done. I'm kind of stalling because I don't feel like paying for all the materials because frankly, I just don't play Ret that often. Now that I've finished, my 3K on that character, I am not really incentivized to pay for it because I just don't play Ret. I don't play it Raid, and Dungeons I typically tank, so at some point I'll buy the rest of the materials. I think I'm just missing like Shadowflame essences. I think I need like 6 more. But they quintupled in price since the bad luck protection increase, so I'm just holding off on them for now. And I'll probably get it within a week, whatever. This character really needs nothing. I have one dungeon slot. I guess I'll just go holy for funsies. Maybe I'll get like a Myth Genosaur blood. That's really the only thing I could use. So a mirror. It's actually kind of interesting. Yeah, I'll take it. Why not? It could be a fun trinket to mess around with for Ret. I don't need sockets anymore, so like 2 tokens means nothing to me. Alright, moving on. Priest. The Priest just did 118. I believe every single one of my characters that I played has an 18, so I will have at least one Myth Dungeon slot. Bum, ba, bum. Okay, what do we got? So we're 483. Finally getting some of our myth pieces upgraded. We got all of our crafted gear at 486. I mean, we just need like a weapon and chest. Those are the biggest pieces. Everything else kind of doo-doo. We'll just stay shadow. Ah, another helm. This is like our 4th myth helm. Oh, we're taking sockets. Cool. 2 tokens. We do have a lariat on this character, so tokens aren't the worst thing. We're missing only 2 sockets. 2nd ring and a belt, so we'll get there eventually. Not super concerned. Shaman, again, did 118. Also did Mythic Alt Raid on this character, so we got 5 Mythic Boss kills. Should be 2 slots. We got up to Nimue, so everything below Nimue is available. I mean, this character, I just need Myth tier. I have weapons, I have reasonable trinkets, although I would take a Myth Pips. I have a normal Pips right now. Trying to think, is there any benefit to me going Ellie or anything? I don't really think so. I don't really want any Ellie weapons or trinkets, so yeah, we'll just go and we'll pray for a Pips or Myth tier. If not, I guess we take a socket. Ooh, chest. Yes, that is a good one. We already have that cape. The Serpent Idol is pretty meh, so chest it is. Very nice. And it starts at 486, so we're going to save some Aspect Crest. Which, like, as an alt who doesn't like farming the Aspect Crest, we're okay with that. 483, very, very cool. Been trying to learn Enhance a little bit more in Raid. It was my first week playing it. We did okay. It wasn't awful. Next is the Evoker. I believe I did 2 bosses on Heroic and 1 18. So we'll have 1 Heroic Raid slot and 1 Myth Dungeon slot. 484. We don't need trinkets. We don't even need tier at this point. I mean, I guess a neck. A neck is like the only thing we could really use. Is there any like healing trinket? I mean, I guess we'll just go Prez and just see. I don't need any DPS trinkets, so I don't really care. 476 gloves. We have myth gloves and haste versus cape, but I believe we have a haste mastery cape. I mean, we'll just take the tokens and we'll make it into a socket. Perfectly fine. Now, what can we socket? We can socket our myth helm. Why don't we do that? That's a good idea. Boom. So that actually works out pretty well. This character, missing one socket in the belt, and that's it. Moving on down. Druid. This is just one dungeon. 118. Haven't really been feeling the Druid as much lately. Noted we still are missing a Druid in the guild run. We're having to... Like, one of our Aug Evokers is playing his Boomkin ult, which is not ideal. We're trying to find a Druid replacement, but... I don't want to heal online. So, it's like a last resort. What do we need? Myth gloves. Myth legs. That's kind of it. A really good, like, a myth DHT ring would be cool. I guess we'll just go as Boomkin. I don't really need anything. We have, like, really sick trinkets, honestly. Myth chest. Well, we have a myth chest with avoidance. Dude, are we seriously taking tokens again? Oh my god. Okay, well, I guess we're just gonna buy a socket and we're gonna take these 2 tokens as we're actually capped on tokens. I don't know what to do with these tokens, man. I guess we'll just start socketing our 476 pieces, which feels kind of bad, but what can you do? Alright, the monk. Again, just a solo 18, 1 myth vault. And then I believe after this, all my other characters should have a plethora of options. Because they were the ones that I ran the bulk of the content on last week, so there should be a lot more on their end. Oh, look, and I'm already at the vault. My monk, 481. Myth gloves, a myth ring. I guess a myth trinket we would take, and that's kind of it. Our gear's pretty good. So we'll stay in Windwalker. What do we get? A bib. Crit haste. We already have a myth cloak. I mean, I'm just gonna take the tokens. It's fine. I believe this character still needs sockets. Yeah, we still need a couple sockets on this character, so fine with the tokens. Kind of expected this late in the season. Alright, DK's next. So the DK, we did a heroic skip run, killed 5 bosses, did not get the legendary. I am going to keep running it weekly on this character because I would like to get him the axe. I will actually play Blood. I will almost certainly play it in Season 4. I've played it every season thus far. It's probably like my favorite dungeon tank. Regardless of how it's tuned, I like the feel of it, so I will definitely be getting the axe on him. So, we'll have 2 heroic raid boxes and 1 myth dungeon box. Myth boots, myth chest, myth shoulders, and, I mean, ring-wise, we're okay. I guess I would also take a... I don't think I have a signet brand, do I? I don't, so I would take a signet brand from the raid. It's a shame you can't get the legendary in the vault. Okay, well, that's not a signet brand. There is hero boots. Crit Mastery Myth Ring. Or a socket. The Myth Ring is kind of interesting. I think it would be good for Frost. And it has a socket in it already. I do still need 3 sockets, though. You know what? We'll take the ring. Like, the socket is obviously better for Blood. We're probably not going to use this for Blood, but I think having, like, a well-statted ring for Frost is nice, and it's already got a socket in it, so that's not a bad deal. We'll take it. Taking these weird fringe picks for, you know, if we ever decide to do stuff. Alright, the Mage. Mage did a full heroic clear, so we'll have 3 heroic raid boxes. And we did 418, so 2 myth dungeon boxes. This character's pretty fun. It's definitely still on the table. Right now, I'm like really leaning between Mage, Rogue, or Shaman DPS for next season. Some of it depends on on the guild and how this raid tier turns out. But like last week, we got a hero Iridol, we got a hero Augury, which is pretty sick. We upgraded two of our crafted pieces to 486. We really just need myth tier. Myth tier is the biggest thing, or a myth Iridol would be fucking sick. Okay. Myth bracers, but that's where our embellish is. A myth neck, which honestly the myth neck isn't bad. Haste crit is pretty good for most of the specs. Ashes is really good for arcane, but I'm not playing arcane at the moment, so I don't think I'll be taking that. 470 offhand. What kind of offhand am I working with? I've got a champion offhand. A helm which I already have. I think I want to just take the neck. The neck allows me way more flexibility. Like I could gem one neck geared more towards fire and one more towards frost, which is kind of interesting. Again, weird fringe picks that like ultimately probably don't matter, but it's interesting enough. 480.3. I mean, this character's on the come up. You know, we're 480 now. Not bad. Demon Hunter next. Demon Hunter did 7 of 9 heroic and 418s. Vengeance is obviously insane. It is fucking crazy in dungeons. I do ridiculous amounts of damage despite having like very little knowledge of the class. I don't think it's that hard. Has crazy control on top of that, so pretty fun tank if you haven't played it yet. It goes nuts in dungeons.
May I have a word with you?
We did 186k or 475. Pretty good trinkets. So myth tier would be awesome. We need myth tier in every slot or a myth weapon. I wouldn't say no to a signet brand either for just messing around. Let's go ahead and see what we get. I mean, pretty much any myth piece that's not in an embellished slot is an upgrade. Ooh, okay. Mastery Haste Ring. Not ideal. Crit Mastery Ring, a little better. I think it's pretty good for Havoc, too, actually. Crit versus Boots in our embellished slot. Crit versus Leech Ring. But it's not super enticing. And a Hero Helm. I think we're taking the Crit Mastery Ring. Just 1 second. Let me just double check. I know Crit is pretty good for Vengeance. Honestly, I haven't played Havoc much. So this might just be like a, hey, let's glance at Havoc stats. I think it's Crit Mastery. It is Crit Mastery. So yeah, we'll take the Crit Mastery Ring and just play around with it. We can replace our Haste Mastery Ring. So, you know, sure. Not exciting, but it's pretty good. We also have a lot of haste, so I'm fine with trading out a little bit of haste for some crit. Yeah, 475. Yeah, whatever. Okay. 2 more to go. Oh, shit, 3 more to go. I forgot about the rogues. So we've got the Hunter left. The Hunter did 2 heroic bosses. I don't even remember which 2 they were. Up to Smolderon, I think. So I'll have loot up to Smolderon. At least I think that's what I did it on. And I did 4 dungeons. It was some worms and 1 18. So we'll have 1 myth box, 1 hero track, and then 1 raid box, which I don't even know. What do we want? I mean, we'll just stay survival, I guess, and just rip it. We'd love to see some, you know, a myth tier. Myth helm would be great. Myth shoulders. Honestly, that's perfectly fine. Going from champ to myth is solid. Coiled Serpent Idol, kind of meh. Hero cloak. We'll take the myth shoulders. It's only 4 item levels right now, but that's we can farm it up to 489 later with some aspect crest. So pretty decent. 475. This guy's kind of been sitting since my 0 to Keystone Hero series. Alright, Warrior next. Warrior did 4 dungeons, 118, and then some worms. So we'll have 1 myth piece, 1 hero piece. 465, so our gear's getting a little better. I'm going to try to get this guy into heroic raid soon, just so I can get chances at the axe. We're going to stay prot, though. Try and get a shield or a weapon. Obviously, myth tier that's not helm would also be solid. This character still has a long way to go. 470 shield. I mean, that is better. A 480 cloak. I think I take the cloak, honestly. The stats are pretty good. And then I could recraft the embellish onto, like, boots, which would be slightly better. Do I have a cloak replacement? Oh, I don't. I guess I could just take the embellish off and just be fine with it. Oh, I'm stupid. This is the cloak replacement. I mean, we'll take the myth cloak. I mean, it's... You know, it's uninspiring, but 480 is a 480, and the crafted pieces aren't super expensive. It's not awful to move around, so that's fine. Alright, and lastly we have the rogue. We've been practicing on the rogue a lot, just trying to get a feel for it. Mostly playing outlaw right now, which is taking some getting used to. It's a bit different than last season. But I think the rogue is a fun contender. Could be interesting. You know, 3 viable specs. It's doing really well right now, so that helps a lot. Between rogue and mage, there's a lot of coverage that I like, so I'd like to, you know, play around with those. We did 5 of 9 heroic, and then 4 18s, and then some worm crests. So we'll have 3 dungeon slots, 2 myth, 1 hero, and then we've got 2 heroic raid slots, and then I think we did LFR to finish up our quest for our crest. I mean, obviously we're looking for a myth weapon. Myth shoulders would be huge. Certain trinkets would be good. These trinkets are kind of eh. Yeah, just let her rip. Do we want to open his sub? I think we do. We want a chance at a dagger. LFR shoulders. Not what you want to see. Okay, well. Myth ring haste verse. Those are terrible stats. Myth feet. Crit haste avoidance in our embellish slot, so that's awful. Crit mastery leech ring. That's okay. It's decent. It's not great. It is certainly an upgrade over our 441. Crit verse cape. I mean, good stats, but it's a cape. It's only 4 item levels. 473 haste mastery socketed ring. Pretty bad. And 447 shoulders. Man, it's not what you want to see. We could upgrade these to 460 something, or we take a socket. I really have nothing to socket. Man, that's not inspiring. Well, I guess we just take the ring. God, that's so boring, but Crit Mastery Leech is certainly better than I can't replace my embellishment. It has to be on the boots, so that's pretty unfortunate. Pass up some 480 pieces, but you know, we're 466. We're getting there. Damage getting a little better. We did pretty well in this Everbloom. 240k, you know, at 466. Let's look at the affixes this week. Tyrannical and incorporeal and spiteful. Not great, not terrible. It's a little more annoying for melee because of spiteful. Incorp is fine if you have, you know, 2 people who can use their brains and press CCs. But anyway, those are the vaults for the week. You can catch me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Pharonics. I'll be streaming a couple times this week for sure. Probably do some tonight, try to get a Farok axe, maybe do some alt keys. Later this week, I'll be releasing some videos on the new hero talents. They just released, like, I think 7 or 8, so I'll be looking at those. I also want to do a video on legendary acquisition for the Firalath axe. Just some kind of general complaints and thoughts on the system, so feel free to tune in for those sometime this week. But hope you guys had some good vaults, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.